What's up, guys? Got a little bit different video for you guys this time around. I am going to be dissecting the new Bardd CD Special Edition box set, of which I purchased, pre-ordered actually, I think a couple months ago, pretty much the day it went up for pre-order, if I remember right. And I will also be giving you a review of the album, which I haven't done an album review since I think Order Shall Prevail by Jungle Rock came out, and that was 2016. So I am kind of excited to do one, especially for this album. In the background, we are listening to, I didn't want to listen to this album in the background. I did think about it. I don't really know why I decided not to, but we're listening to Bard's last album, The Last Rain, right before this one. This is just unreal, dude. Like, this is going to be some of my favorite modern black metal there is. I mean, this band is everything I like about black metal put in one incredibly convenient package, and like, I need to pick up the LP of this when it gets pressed and all that. It's gonna be crazy. I have the LP for this, but I'm gonna pick up the shirts and stuff. We are drinking a Shiner Bock. If you don't know who Bock or Shiner is, it's a Texas-based beer company. Great classic stuff. First time I ever had it was, you guys don't know who Jerry the King Waller is? He's from, he's a pro wrestler. I think he started in like the 70s or maybe even the early 80s. And yeah, I had some there, drank too much of it, but I still like it. Okay, so we'll start with the box. This is the box here. Nice heavy cardstock, black box, matte black, with the foil stamp. I don't know, I guess you'd call this a sigil or something, or logo or what. No, it's definitely not a logo, it's a sigil. It's like this wreath. Very nice heavy cardstock. Let's open her up. This is a great box set. Very cool. Very glad to have it. This isn't technically a part of the box set, but it came with it. Just some flyers from Northern Silence, and then a CD sampler, which is very nice. You know, it's got a bunch of great bands on it. Eternal Valley, Raduk, or whatever it is. Ildfar, Autumn Nostalgia, Lunar Spells, Earthshine. It's great Northern Silence roster, as usual. So, in this box, we are contained with a download code, of which I'm not showing y'all, sorry. We get a sticker of the band's logo. Very nice long sticker. There you go. I actually really like this band's logo an awful lot. I think it looks very nice. Fits their style very well. And then the Bardd patch comes in this kind of long, pretty heavy backed patch. Nice and high quality. I appreciate it a lot. I don't really get the artwork on here, but I'm sure it has some kind of poetic significance to the album, so I'm not going to complain. And I get this wonderful enamel pin of their logo, which I'm not sure if I'm going to use quite yet. As much as I would love to, and as much as I love this, I just don't feel like I would actually want to screw it up or lose it. And I kind of like the idea of leaving it in here, which I know is dumb. And on the bottom, you got this flyer. I guess you shouldn't call it a flyer. It's more like a little A5 poster of the album cover, and it's the limitation out of 100. I got number 67. Let me get that sheet out of here. There's a nice band photo on the other side. The two dudes in the band. If you guys don't know who Bardd is, they're Swiss. They're a Swiss, folky, atmospheric black metal band that is just beyond stellar all the time. So, beyond that, got a sick flag of the album cover. Yeah, I mean, look at that thing, man. I absolutely love this design. The artwork is gorgeous. I like the ominous red lighting in the background. I think it looks very nice, and I am super stoked to have managed to grab a copy of this when I did. It's more than likely sold out, and if it's not, go get one. And the A5 Digipack, which is what came in the box set. There's no LP pressing yet, but I certainly plan on picking it up when it does drop. Yeah, I put all my A5 digis in these sleeves as long as they fit. My Passage de Hiver one doesn't fit, which is kind of annoying. So, Matt A5, thank you for not making it gloss can Bardd or Northern Silence, whoever designed it. Here's the inside. So very pretty. More pictures of that sigil. Here's a better look of it. I'm sure that this wreath has some kind of pagan significance of whatever that may mean to these people. Here's the booklet. I'm actually going to go through it since this is a full dissection. You get a great amount of lyrics. You can actually follow them along pretty well, though I have not done so, but you can tell what's going on in the vocals a lot of the time. It looks like they just use different close-ups of the album cover all throughout the booklet, which is nice. I think it ties it together really well. And I love A5 Digipacks, man. I think they're so cool. This is a good call on their part. So, on with the review of this album. If you guys couldn't tell by now, I'm a big fan. I really, really like this album. So, the opening track is called Echoes of the Moss. It's kind of this gorgeous, kind of orchestrated, acoustic-y sound. It's got an awful lot of acoustics to it. You know, it's got a mixture of like 12 strings, and it sounds like a nylon string playing some lead work, as well as maybe a regular acoustic guitar. It's kind of hard to tell, and there's a lot of different layers to it. Sorry if I'm looking down a bit. I have a little cheat sheet with some stuff on it, because I sat around yesterday and took notes to the album on my phone. It's got a really heavy driven, like old school, got like a heavy driven, almost medieval styled drum to it, you know, the kind of thing that like Summoning does a lot. And it's almost got this primitive style to it, you know. It's simplistic, it's just enough to keep on beat, but they're not really trying to show off at all. And that kind of is a thing that comes through a lot throughout the record, especially when you get more of the acoustic parts of the songs. So track 2 kind of reintroduces the melodies from the intro, being Echoes of the Moss and then Un Corne de Branches, whatever that means. It kind of reintroduces a lot of those melodies, and it adds just an enormous soundscape to it. And then kind of closer to the middle of the album, or middle of it, kind of when it all starts building up and working well, it adds an enormous clean vocal section with some harsh vocals off in the back distance. I think it's something that really creates a great epic atmosphere. That's something you really can't match with just harsh vocals. I think the clean vocals really make it happen. The next track being Devoured by the Oak Part 2. It kind of starts off with these gorgeous traditional folk-styled acoustic guitars with a lot of heavy layered harmonies to it. And then it kind of has a lot of violin added in. This is actually, I think, the first introduction of the violin, as well as what you could tell is most definitely keyboard strings. But when I say you can tell most definitely, it doesn't mean that it sounds bad whatsoever, I would say. The big thing there is another reintroduction of the 12-string, and it makes this kind of increasingly lush sound to it, you know? It's got this great, awesome layering of some clean vocals, and then the heavy floor tom, or I can't tell if it's a floor tom or a bass drum, but that's the heavy driven drums, the really simplistic medieval style drums. I don't really know which instrument it is. It's probably maybe even both, because obviously there's a full kit all over the album. Once that starts going on for a little while, the tune explodes black into some blasting Cascadian style riffing with some slower melodic acoustic guitar over the top, almost like that early Behemoth stuff like Through the Pagan Vastlands has on it. It's really, really cool, and that contrast makes this kind of unparalleled majesty to it. It's just it's something I really, really like. It's a great soundscape. There's a decent amount of harsh vocals in this song, which is not too different compared to their older stuff. This is probably something that would fit definitely on this album. But the big thing on this one is they really start to embrace the sound of folk metal. Like, this is a really epic black metal album. This album is really starting to bring on that like serious folk metal. I don't mean jumpy Corpicalani folk metal, which is a lot of fun, you know. But yeah. So there's a drum and acoustic break in the middle of the track, and there's these whispery vocals, which definitely gives me an old school kind of Agalloch feel, especially with this melodic, tremolo, fluttery guitar in the background. It's stellar, man. It's one of the best breaks on the record, and then it kind of leads into this really big sounding, enormous sounding, super spacious riff, and then that starts kind of building back up into this slow section, and then it just stops, and then it goes into harps. Harps are just such a great sounding thing. I mean, Summoning's introduction of harps in black metal, especially this atmospheric style of black metal, is great. Like, right now, this is really feral sounding. This new album is a lot more pretty sounding than this. This kind of sounds like Hylon right now, what we're listening to. So the transition into the second part of the song is this kind of huge, epically driven, almost chorusy, clean vocal section, and it's just and then it leads into this string break, and then some more harp to start off the next track, which is Devoured by the Oak Part 2. And then over these soft harp parts, it begins to evolve with these kind of Waldman-Flüster type mid-range harsh vocals. Then it explodes back into this enormous black metal sounding, like blasting, super blackened Cascadian soundscape. It's definitely something reminiscent to, you know, the Wolves in the Throne Room or the Weakling album and stuff like that. After this part, it breaks down into this kind of reverb out clean guitar post-rock section, which is something that hasn't really been done on much of their stuff before. It kind of does that, and then it goes right back into the blasty black metal. There's another build-up with some fluttery harmonized guitars and some hard-driven kick drum that is, it has this faint whisper in the background, you know. It doesn't, like, earlier I mentioned this whisper vocal with some acoustic guitars and stuff. This is definitely more of like a background thing. And then it reduces back into the clean post-rock sound again, leading to another blast. This one, it's one of the best examples in this band's career of the true blue, awesome songwriting dynamics that these guys are capable of, and honestly, some of the best dynamics I've ever heard used in black metal. I mean, it's just, it's stellar. So the ending of this song is just acoustic guitar and flutes, which is one of the greatest ways to gently set you back down, you know, right after you've had this whole awesome kind of moody, beautiful to blast in anger, beautiful to blast in anger kind of soundscape going on. And honestly, I don't think they could have picked a better thing. I'm a sucker for some flutes, man, especially the pan flute, but like, I don't think it's a pan flute, it's a regular flute, which honestly, I don't know, I might even like regular flute more. So the next tune, Crepuscule, it kind of starts off slow, and with this electric keyboard, electric piano sound, which you heard earlier on this Last Rain album if you were listening to the background music instead of me yakking. It sounds like Yes, man. It sounds like Close to the Edge kind of Yes, and like the prog band, obviously. And it's it kind of slowly builds up more and more with more and more layers as the progression continues. And then it breaks into this somber, slow part, so it kind of builds you up, drops off entirely, and then it has this like almost ambient section, I would say, with some acoustic guitar, but then the flute comes back in, and, you know, that gets me pretty excited. So close to the end of the song, they start to reintroduce the harmony gang clean vocals, which you haven't heard much over the past couple songs. Like, it's been there, but the gang vocals have really started to take the center here, and it's got this harsh vocal again deep in the background of this huge choir. Then you start getting this kind of quick double bass, but the kind of beat, and it's just epic, man. It's one of my favorite beats in all of black metal, and it creates a really good contrast with all this fluttery guitar. You know, the kick drums keep up with that, but then there's a lot of space, you know, in the rest of the kit, so it just has this consistent drive to it. Yeah, especially kind of like using that into leading into like a fluttery guitar part with some violins like they do for this track. Uh, and then the next song is called Spleen by the Pond, which is kind of a hilarious name, by the way. That's like, that almost sounds like a weird Cannibal Corpse song. It's this slow interlude track that's got this ambient keyboard section to it. And it's basically the same exact tone on the keyboard as Dunkelheit by Burzum. And then it adds a little bit of soft piano in there, you know, a little bit more Burzum reminiscence. This guy's really done his homework. I think it's two guys writing most of the music. I think it's one guy who writes the music and the other guy's is drumming. Don't quote me on that. I don't remember exactly. But then after that amazing Burzum-y interlude, Autumn Shores comes in, which is the second to last song on the album, and it builds in the key. It builds on the keyboards from that last interlude, and then it starts to introduce this fast blasting Celtic black metal that kind of sounds like Seor. You know, the aura and stuff like that. Roots. If you guys don't know Seor, get on that. Please go listen to the Aura, one of the best black metal bands of the modern age as well. Then the Dunkelheit keyboards kind of come back in, and it's a pretty regular occurrence throughout the second half of the song, and he kind of switches the harsh vocals into putting them in the lead and then putting the epic choirs in the background, which is a really cool contrast because it's definitely an evolving album, you know. I mean, it's just like a couple seconds short of a full hour, and so it has a lot of time for evolution within it. And that's something that I think is really something that this album does super well. The end of the song has these like medieval sounding summoning drums again with some groovy, well-driven folk metal riffs that have some harsh vocals that lead into another chorus being harsh vocals with the clean vocals in the background, which is just absolutely stellar. Then the absolute end of the song is just this super majestic acoustic guitar with these leading vocal or bleeding violin parts to it. It's just mournful, you know. It's super mournful in a way of like fall leaves, you know. You see them coming down and you know the tree's about to go dormant and the leaves are all dead. But it's absolutely stunning, and it's, wow, it's just something crazy. Then these, oh man. So like with that song, as Autumn Shores fades, you kind of get this neo-folk classical guitar styled nylon string playing, which is really reminiscent of the band Muskox from Canada. And then as that's going on, you lead into Blomsterskrigen, I don't know. It is probably something in the Swiss language, thus me not knowing anything. And then you start getting this awesome female vocal put in there, and she's definitely like serenading you in what I assume again to be the Swiss language. And this kind of almost gives me this medieval sounding gorgeous soundscape, especially with the song continually evolving with different incarnations of this mixture of instruments, being like the slow fingerstyle guitars, the flutes, the violins, all kinds of stuff like that. And it's just textbook perfect dynamic fashion that you really come to expect from Bardd. The whole record ends with just acoustic guitars. Done and finished with that. That's the only thing at the end. And honestly, I don't think you could have asked for a better way to end this stellar album, which came in at number 2 on my year-end list for 2021. Only slightly beat out by the New Wolves in the Throne Room album. But right now, honestly, I could have definitely switched it to a round and been fully at peace with said decision. I don't know, but shoulda, coulda, woulda, right, man? So basically, overall with this album, it's a 10 out of 10. It's stellar in every way. It's everything I like about black metal. The introduction of the super epic folk metal is just one of the best decisions he's ever made. These guys have ever made, excuse me. As long as they continue to add this majestic black metal in there, I think that we will be in really good shape for future releases. I really like the fact that he's kind of starting to wear his influences on his sleeve, as much as you could kind of hear a lot of the influences on these older tunes. I mean, this band's like 5 or 6 years old. You really are starting to hear a refined, perfectly driven, well distilled band at this point, and I couldn't ask for more from a band I am such a huge fan of at this point. So that will be my review and a dissection of the new Bardd box set. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please, I beg of you to go buy this album, to go and support this group. They just got some long sleeve t-shirts back restocked, and some regular t-shirts in stock. You go check out their Bandcamp. I think it's just the Bardd Bandcamp. But if you're in Europe, you could order from Northern Silence directly, or if you want to in America, feel free. I'm not sure if I'm going to quite yet go out and buy them. I'm on money saver mode, but if they have a couple of sneak into Hell's Headbangers, I might wind up losing about $30 to grab one. So, Bardd, Devoured by the Oak. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Keep it greasy.